I have been on a mission to understand the principles and the fundamentals of business, so I have watched tons of content and I have consumed tons of different creators' information, but the one that has stuck out to me by far is Alex Hormozi. And I decided to binge 50 hours of his content, well, not necessarily binge, but watch 3,000 minutes or 50 hours of his content, and I'm going to tell you the 4 biggest takeaways that I took from watching him. You might be wondering who I am. My name is MoisesNovaAd, and I'm just an 18-year-old who started his first venture at 17, and I am now just documenting my way to the top. When you're first starting, do it for free. When you're first starting, you're probably gonna suck. Trust me, when I first started, I sucked, and I still consider myself kind of trash at a lot of things. But it's okay. Whenever you're first going to sell something and you're not too sure if you can actually deliver and you're going to sell something just to sell it, just to get money, you're setting yourself up for failure. The worst thing you can do is charge someone a big or a decent amount of money, like for example, $1,000 for you to run their ads, and you end up just wasting their money. The money that they paid you plus the ad spend, you're basically just screwing them over. And that's really not helping you in the short run or in the long run, because they're gonna ask for their money back, and in return, it's gonna harm your reputation and your self-confidence, because you're gonna be like, well, crap, I couldn't deliver on what it is that I told them I was gonna deliver on. So your confidence and your reputation is just gonna be in the garbage. Instead, ask for a testimonial, or even better, if you did a good job, you can ask for a referral. If you did a bad job, you just tell them like, hey, you didn't pay me, just tell me what I can improve on. And in my opinion, when you're first starting, that's actually worth more than getting paid any amount of money. Depends, of course, but you get what I'm trying to say. Your personal brand matters. Having a personal brand is like putting a gallon of steroids into your business. I can only think of a couple downsides to having a personal brand. Of course, you're going to have facial recognition, and if you have a personal brand that's a little bit too big, then you're probably gonna have little to no privacy, but that's when you're actually getting into the millions of followers. But when you're first starting and you can actually have a decent following, a couple of thousand followers, having a personal brand basically just makes everything so much easier, all the way from getting clients to your dating life, having key hires, and actually going after good talent. There are very few downsides, if not there are way more upsides to having a personal brand than a lot of people think. So if you're starting a business, I would actually recommend for you to start a personal brand. Even if it's not huge, just target a pretty small pool of people and gain a pretty decent amount of followers, a couple hundred. And with that, you can actually start making a stable income, because if you're pitching a service specific to the people who you're trying to help, then you can actually make a pretty decent living. It's going to take time. If you want to achieve something that's great and something that's actually tangible and something that you can actually be very, very proud of, it's going to take a long time. I always go back to the quote, Rome wasn't built in a night or a day, and they are extremely correct. It was actually built in 1,276 days. Don't quote me on that, around that time span, but it's basically saying that Rome, one of the greatest empires in the world, was built in a millennia. So if you want to achieve something, of course, not as big as Rome, because it's very hard to build an empire of that size, but a business or something that's actually worth even speaking of, or something that's actually going to be remembered in the long run, it's going to take an extremely long time. Alex right now, he's documenting his way to $1 billion, and he knows that that's going to be a 10 to 15, maybe even 20-year process, and he's basically buckled in for the long run. It's going to be an extremely long car ride, but he's okay with that, because he knows that if he can actually stick to this for a long time, he will essentially hit that goal that he has essentially set himself out to hit. You need to under-promise and over-deliver on your products or services. Whenever you do that, people are going to be more inclined to refer you and to share their experience with you with their friends, and they're going to want to tell everybody about you because you essentially gave them more than they were expecting. And most companies who are doing over 7 figures a year, the biggest inflow of clients that they have, from what I've noticed, is referrals. So if you can have a strong referral-based system, then you essentially won't need to have anything else in place. You won't need to run ads. You won't need to have a personal brand, which personal brands are, in my opinion, one of the best things you can have. But you really don't need that whenever you have referral-based system. You can easily do 7, even 8 figures a year simply with a strong referral-based system, which that is how one of the best CRMs in the world, Go High Level, is actually getting a majority of their clients with referral-based systems. Also, let's just put it at this. Tim referred John to Starbucks. John is extremely content with the coffee that Starbucks served him, so he's actually going to thank Tim, who I forgot who I said referred who, but basically the friend, he's going to thank his friend for referring him to such a good product. So, I mean, if you have a good product and you actually under promise and over deliver on whatever it is that you're doing, everyone wins at the end of the day. You end up getting more clients because of referrals, and they end up being extremely happy because you basically over delivered on something that they weren't expecting. Another huge thing that I actually did not talk about in today's video is Alex Hormozi actually taught me some of the fundamentals of manifestation, and you can actually get whatever you want. So if you do want to see a little bit more about that, I would actually recommend for you to check this video out, or don't. I don't really care. Peace.